you try to do everything that you can do to get help. You know, and I just feel sorry for my black women out here, man. My women in general, I just feel bad that y'all have to constantly go through things like this. And no matter what you go through, there is not enough action set in place that would be able to protect you from a crazy, deranged, fatal, attracted monster. You know what I'm saying? But I've had a chance to watch this yet, but this is a story of a young woman named LaShonda Childs, who unfortunately lost her life after she exposed her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and was pleading for help, and nobody was able to do nothing about it. Let's get into it right now and see what happened, man. I would be highly upset with just the justice system, with whoever she had in contact with, to try to stop whatever it was that was going on, man. I could just imagine how afraid this young woman was. Just do everything in your power to keep someone away from you, but it's just not enough. Like, just imagine giving 100% at something and you still fail. It's crazy, man. Let's get into it and see what this is talking about.
Up, I'm talking about 20 messages back to back, screenshots. This nigga, I just got woke up. I'm talking about 20 messages back to back, screenshots. This nigga talk about you, this and that, this and that. Like, man, violating his motherfucking restraining order. Like, baby, I do not do this.
This is LaShonda Childs, a 17-year-old girl who was just entering the best years of her life before she was murdered. The girl tried her best to call for help moments before she was shot.
Wow.
She called 911, but the police took too long to get to her location. This phone call, however, was crucial in the arrest and sentencing of the murderer. This is the story of the young girl who got shot by her stalking ex-boyfriend. At 17 years old, LaShonda Sharice Childs was at the prime of life and was loved by all. She was very social and was passionate about all things beauty. She even had her own business entitled The Beauty Blender LLC. It's no secret that she was headed towards a life of accomplishment and fulfillment, but it was not to last. And it all started when LaShonda got into a relationship with an 11-year older man called Trendell Goodwin.
Wow. Weird.
Right from the start, their relationship was marked by turbulence and abuse. In all the years they had been together, the abuse had kept escalating until it became too much. According to Nina Childs, the mother of LaShonda, Goodwin misled her daughter about his age in September 2017 and had claimed to be 20 years old when he was actually in his late 20s. After a few months into the relationship, LaShonda attempted to distance herself from Goodwin due to his behavior. Goodwin would frequently take LaShonda's phones, harass her and her family, and make excessive phone calls, with Nina describing him as someone who would call up to 70 times a day, which was both frustrating and alarming.
This stuff is weird.
LaShonda was active on social media while she was a victim of domestic abuse, and even posted about how her boyfriend treated her. She told her story while warning others to stay safe and to, quote, not ignore the signs. But no one realized that she was actually screaming for help. In a Facebook status, she mentioned only some of the ways her boyfriend was abusing her. She mentioned that he had thrown her into walls, broken multiple bones, made her walk to places with a gun pointed at her.
Make sure y'all go back a little bit because it looked like he had the entire post and y'all can pause it to read it. But I know y'all rather read it than hear it.
Thrown her belongings into a sewer, and ended by saying that these were only some of the many incidents. Such a toxic and dangerous relationship meant that LaShonda had to find a way out of it, and she did exactly that. LaShonda Childs left Goodwin, but Goodwin didn't want to let go. He followed her from her house to different places and hid in abandoned buildings to keep an eye on her. Trendell Goodwin's actions leading up to the murder of LaShonda Childs paint a disturbing picture of his character. The fact that he not only physically assaulted her during a robbery attempt, but also set fire to her wig, causing burns to her left bicep, is a clear indication of his cruel and malicious intent. Even after the incident, he continued to send threatening comments to LaShonda and her family and friends. On February 19, 2018, Goodwin was arrested after LaShonda told police he hit her in the face and bit her left shoulder during an argument about text messages involving another woman. Quote, Childs had a fresh bite mark on her left shoulder. The left side of her face was swollen, where she claimed Goodwin hit her. She also had abrasions on the right side of her neck, and her nose was bleeding at one point.
Yeah, you gotta get out of there.
A Dayton police officer wrote. But it wasn't the first time something like this had happened. According to reports from the Dayton Police Department, there have also been several instances of conflicts between Goodwin and multiple women, which include his mother, his sister, and former girlfriends. In September 2018, a woman reported to the Dayton police that a person named Trenny Mack on Facebook threatened to kill her after she suggested he get help. She also mentioned that she knew Childs' name. The officer who responded to the call had prior knowledge of Goodwin's issues with an ex-girlfriend and deduced that Trenny Mack was actually Goodwin. A week earlier, the same officer had responded to a complaint about shots fired into a residence on North Upland. Goodwin had received community control after pleading guilty to carrying a concealed weapon in 2016. His probation ended after 1 year, although it could have been extended for up to 5 years. Goodwin has been booked into the Montgomery County Jail approximately 15 times for various offenses dating back to 2011, although most cases were not prosecuted according to jail records. It's not known why he was not prosecuted before, and some people believe it was a serious lapse of judgment by the authorities, who could have prevented the tragic death of LaShonda. He definitely had a pattern that many unfortunate women fell victim to. As time passed by, LaShonda was finally ready to date again and started going out with another man. But even after she found herself a man who was caring and loving, Goodwin did not want her to be happy and kept harassing her. In a smart move, LaShonda once again did the right thing and got a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend.
Where my restraining order at? He already violating his motherfucking restraining order. Like, baby, I do not do this.
She thought this would be enough to keep Goodwin out of her life, but little did she know he would appear once again to haunt her. Goodwin was taken into custody on the day of the incident. Records from Dayton Municipal Court and the jail show that he served 19 days of a 180-day sentence for misdemeanor assault.
Wow.
As a condition of his release, Goodwin was ordered not to have contact with Childs and was required to receive counseling, but it seems he did not receive any. On September 10, 2018, Goodwin was ordered to continue his probation for another year, pursuant to the conditions imposed on April 24, 2018. However, on September 25th, his attorney filed a motion to terminate the probation. This seemed to be the end of LaShonda's problems, but it was only the beginning. On October 2nd, LaShonda was on a date with her new boyfriend. On their way back, the two were confronted by Goodwin. LaShonda's boyfriend got into an argument with him, but before things heated up, LaShonda realized the situation was about to get deadly. She told her new boyfriend to get into the car and drive. As the two drove away, Goodwin shot at the vehicle and shot LaShonda in the head.
Wow.
In a state of panic, her boyfriend took her to the hospital, but she could not make it and was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. During this confrontation, LaShonda even called 911. She reported to the 911 dispatcher that her boyfriend had a gun pointed at his head and that she had a restraining order against the perpetrator. The police had previously advised her to call them if she saw him, so she provided the dispatcher with the address. On the phone call, she was frightened and unable to speak clearly due to the severity of the situation. Unfortunately, she later died from a headshot wound, and her death was classified as a homicide. Following the incident, law enforcement officials were dispatched to multiple locations. Shoup Avenue was cordoned off, and investigators proceeded to Grandview Medical Center upon discovering that a victim had been transported there. Several residents in the vicinity who were interviewed by Homicide and Special Victims Unit detectives reported hearing numerous gunshots and potentially witnessing a vehicle speeding away from the area. Sarah Wolf Knight, the Grant and Advocacy Manager at YWCA of Dayton, has stated that protective orders are not always enough to save lives in cases like Child's. She said, quote, "When you have a high risk of violence or death, sometimes it's still not enough." Unfortunately, LaShonda's situation was not unique. Women in this county every day are killed in domestic violence situations because there are firearms present. So we are working really closely with our legislative leaders. Goodwin made an appearance in court where his bail was set at $1 million. He was then held at Montgomery County Jail and was scheduled for another court appearance on October the 16th. But Goodwin's trial did not start on the morning of October 16, 2019, as he pleaded guilty to multiple charges against him, including murder, felonious assault, and a weapons charge.
Life.
He later asked to withdraw his plea, but his request was overturned. He finally appeared in Montgomery County Common Pleas Court before Judge Dennis Adkins for his verdict, and the judge sentenced Goodwin to 18 years to life in prison. Goodwin's father, who chose not to be identified, talked to the Dayton Daily News and expressed his condolences to both families, but especially to the victim's family. However, he disagreed with the idea that his son was a terrible person and urged people not to judge him too harshly. He suggested that people should wait for the verdict before deciding on his son's guilt, and that anyone who commits a crime should be punished accordingly. Jalen, LaShonda's brother, described his sister as having a vibrant personality. He mentioned that she was in the process of leaving Goodwin, but their relationship was characterized by fatal attraction. Jalen expressed that justice being served may bring some peace to the family. The family of LaShonda Childs spoke shortly after the verdict was announced. Jalen expressed his initial shock at the sentence, but ultimately found it fair. He stated, quote, "Knowing he can't get out in the 18 years, he doesn't have a number to look at. His number is life, so I was all right with that." Nina, LaShonda's mother, recounted that Goodwin initially lied about his age, claiming to be 20 instead of in his late 20s, in September 2017. She said that LaShonda attempted to leave him a few months after that, but there was an altercation between the two on September 12, 2018. On September 15, 2018, Nina claimed that Goodwin fired shots at her home, an allegation included in a Dayton police report. But nothing was done about it. It seems this craziness had become part of their daily lives, as if it were a routine. She also said that Goodwin sent her son a text message indicating that he was not concerned about being incarcerated. This reveals that Goodwin showed no remorse over his actions, even after being arrested. She further acknowledged that her daughter's death was a tragedy and hoped that Goodwin would receive appropriate punishment for his actions. She pointed out that Goodwin still had the opportunity to interact with his family and friends, while LaShonda no longer had a voice that could be heard. And because of this, she hoped that Goodwin would receive everything that he deserved.
Now, I'll say this, y'all. I don't even think that 18 years to life was enough. Honestly, after what he did, and I mean, letting y'all know, man, I don't wish jail on nobody, bro. So I want to get that out just right now before anybody be thinking I'm trying to wish jail on somebody. But it's also a case to where if y'all finna put jail on somebody, make it make sense. Buddy gave him 18 years. Buddy literally need 30 to life, 25 to life, 18 years with the possibilities of parole. After 18, he have to do a minimum of 18 years. If he violate that, then he could possibly do life, which is a lot that can happen in 18 years. But then again, 18 years, Buddy can come back still like, yeah, I just did 18. Shoot, I just did 15. And putting the emotions, he already fired in her house multiple times. He already been arrested on situations like that. He violated the restraining. Actually, he didn't. The fact they need to hold the lawyer accountable for getting that restraining order taken off, and then he ended up committing a crime. So not only did he get the restraining order taken off, they can't even put that on him because him violating the restraining orders, even though he did before previously, but they took it off with his history of repeated offenses. You know, and I say this just even as a brother, I would want Buddy to be free. Come on home, bro. Come on home. Let's just go ahead and get this over with fast, bro. Like, I ain't gonna wish jail on them. Just come on home and let the streets handle you for sure. And I feel like Buddy just getting a slide out of everything he done did. I feel like that just a little bit of a land. Like, dang, all right, 18, it's a lot, but hey, at least I can still talk to my people every day. I got to sit down for 18 years, which is just crazy. But at the same time, Buddy, he not learning. He don't care. It's a repeat type of offense, man. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this down below, man. RIP to this young lady who had lost her life, unfortunately, to toxic fatal attraction, man. Just remember, like she said, man, don't ignore them red flags. Don't ignore them signs. I hope some of y'all stopped and paused and actually read what she had typed on Facebook before she ended up passing away, just opening up about all these women who be like, I want a dude to do this. I want a crazy dude. I want to do the X, Y, and Z until you get one. And then it potentially can end up on some stuff like this where you got to get restraining orders. Muggs is shooting at you and all this extra unfortunate, sad, unreasonable stuff. I couldn't imagine having a daughter or a sister or a mother or a cousin or an auntie who had to go through some stuff like this daily. Like, I feel like I would possibly lose my mind. You know what I'm saying? But y'all let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this down below, man. Make sure if y'all enjoy my reaction that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell, man. And remember, man, 1 like equals 1 prayer.